1 you're on.
Enjoyers and
Enjoyers and
enthusiasts,
enthusiasts,
welcome back
welcome
to
back
ESA
to
Cup
ESA
season
Cup
number
season
9,
number
where today
9,
we're
where
going to
today
be
we're going to
having
be
a
having
look
a
at
look at
another beautiful match of phase number 1. It's going to be round 1. Now, before we get into it, before we get known with these teams, get the maps going, and the operators banned, let's introduce ourselves. I'm going to be Puffo Bob here leading you through these matches, and I'll be joined here with Lane X. And how are you doing here today?
And I'm good. How's it going, everybody? Also ready to watch this very, very nice match that we're going to be seeing for round number 4. So I'm pleased to be here again on ESA Cup and also with Hot Next helping produce us. And it's good to be with you, Puff Bubble. I don't think I don't think we casted before, or have we? I don't think so. First time.
No, we have not. This is going to be
This is
our
going to be
first
our
cast
first
here
cast
today,
here
so a bit
today,
more
so a bit more
excitement on our side.
side.
But in the
But in the
meanwhile, the
meanwhile,
matches are going to slowly start going underway. So let's take a look at the brackets currently standing in, as of course, we need to see where these teams are. And right now, well, it's Entropy versus EWAVE. Whoever loses this match is going to be eliminated, and the winner is going to be going into that 2-2 bracket to either qualify or be eliminated afterwards.
have been struggling so far in the rounds to find steadiness and to have a stable campaign. But the main thing is now they're gonna have to fight for the last spot, right? So it's I don't know, kill or die here. They need to do their best because it's a chance to move forward, right, and to go to the playoff stage. And I don't know, these teams they have been facing some struggles in some maps. We're gonna be talking later about that, but it's a very very interesting situation, Puffo, where and like I said, they're gonna have to do the best. They're gonna have to align all of these details and elements, and definitely get a chance to win here to maybe believe on the next phase of the championship.
Now, in the meanwhile, you said some teams struggle on some maps while others didn't. Let's take a look at the maps we're going to be seeing here today. It is a best of 3 format, which means we're going to be having 3 maps to decide the winner and the loser if we get to the decider in the first place. And the first pick is going to be Consulate over by E-Wave, followed by Entropy's Clubhouse, quite a common classic. And for the last one is going to be none other than Nighthaven by E-Wave. Of course, if one team wins 2 maps beforehand, we don't even need to go to Nighthaven. So, of course, both of these teams are very excited to win out this first early map. Although I do believe with it, we're slowly going to start heading in towards this match. And any opinions here on these maps we're seeing, Lanex?
Yeah, it's interesting to see Consulate because it's been a point of problem, I would say, an issue for E-Wave, especially when they lost 2 consulates here so far in the season, and they're gonna have to show more in the case against Entropy today. And when it comes to Clubhouse, let's see how that's gonna roll. It's also a very interesting map, one of the classic ones. And finally, as you said, on the decider of Night Haven, which would be perhaps leaning towards Entropy's side because they have actually won this map in previous rounds. So I want to see how teams are going to be, if they're going to be able to find stability finally, because they've been winning and losing. It's been tough for them. Like I said, 1 victory and 2 losses for each side. So it's the moment to step up and show what they're capable of.
Without a doubt. Now, in the meanwhile, you spoke about the previous matches, and Entropy here, they won against D-Wave in the previous base tank breach LAN, which happened 2 weeks ago. It was the Winter 1, and yeah, that was interesting. So we already have some sort of battles between these 2 teams happen in the past, and now it's the present. We have to see if E-Wave can start pulling their weight just a tiny bit more, because, I mean, in the previous LAN event, I cast it on the Sunday. It was the English cover, and it ended up going 2-1 to Entropy. It was quite a fierce battle, although the final map was a bit more one-sided, and in the end, Entropy, they definitely took the victory without a doubt. But in the meanwhile, it's 3 matches ready to get, and also 3 more matches in general. 3 more series matches to finish out phase 1. So 3 teams have a chance at qualifying or not. But as we're waiting, we can also pull up a bit of predictions, or actually, I might. We're going to be going right into Consulate here. A bit of a head-to-head, 88% for Entropy, 13 towards E-Wave, and well, I think the majority here is going to be favoring one more than the other.
And very, very massive votes on the side of Entropy. As we move to the banding side and phase of things, I was just gonna mention, Puffle, that it's very good for Entropy not having to place to play, sorry, Chalet today, because they have lost 3 times this map. So it's a relief. E-Wave was not able to punish or explore that on the draft when it comes to the maps. And Monty, as always, out of the potential picks for this map, the top one of the overall bans here in the championship so far, along with Ing, the Cab, and Brava. Brava, there it is, out of the game. And Brava, especially here, Puffo, it's a very, very constant banned by Entropy. They have been taking this operator out on all the rounds previously in the championship, so they feel comfy to take it out. I mean, they don't want to play against Brava, so there it is.
Yeah, without a doubt, Brava is quite a strong move, especially from any team pulling it out. In the meanwhile, going over to the defensive bans is going to be none other than Malusi. A not so recent, but also recent addition to her is going to be the 4th Wub she gained around the area, which is going to be making her a bit stronger, also puts her a bit closer to that meta top 4 operator side, and that also allows players to ban her. As of course, we follow the final ban defender here, it's going to be the Clash. On Consulate, she absolutely shines like a star, and this is one of those maps that she and her shield both complement quite well. As we go over to round 1, this is going to be the starter. This is where the first steps are made by both of these teams, as of course in these couple of rounds we're just going to have to learn to see how these teams have changed, what has changed from the previous time they faced off against each other, and of course who has made the bigger adaptation.
Yes, definitely. And also, we have to take into account the run from both sides on the 3rd round, right? Considering that EWAVE, they come from a victory, and on the other hand, Entropy failing. So both teams, both sides try to adjust those elements into the championship moving forward with the next rounds. As we see already, the preps obviously on the 2nd floor when it comes to defending and protecting the spots. It's going to be cool to see these teams, and also to see if EWAVE is going to be able to reverse the expectations and definitely, you know, provide us with a more balanced game against Entropy.
Down though. We're starting it off here. You said it, Lanex, and with it, let's take a look at these lineups that these teams are rocking over at Entropy, who can't switch anymore as the attackers still have some seconds, although slowly counting us down. We have the Goyo, we have the Izami, Mira, Frost, and Mute. Now, some are, though, a bit more standalone characters like the Mute Frost, which are expected to be seen alongside the Goyo, which has been brought by teams in the recent change. Although the Mira, Izami, both absolute strong houses of this entire meta. I mean, the Mira, don't even mention that she's been a fear factor for all Zeke players for years to come. And in the meanwhile, the Izami, I mean, she is one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Taking a look at the attack in the meanwhile, we have the Dokkaebi to counteract some of the utility, get some information out. The Flourish to counter the Izami. It's a nice little yin-yang interception between the two. Also the Grim, Ace, and of course the Striker to balance it all out.
And a very interesting setup on the side of Entropy with a bunch of area denial, right? When it comes to Goyo and obviously Smoke and Frost, and also protection of the bomb itself of Zami and Mira. So it's going to be up to EWAVE to break all these defensive choices by Entropy and, of course, find their way into the building. As we see a broader view here of the protective efforts from Entropy, and so far EWAVE not able to... Oh, there it is. Just like I said, the so-called jinxing by casters. We have the clip now, the image of Duet. I've casted these guys before, and I remember Duet being a key player for the team. Let's see what he's going to be able to do today, trying for the first pick and opening some kind of view here. We changed for, obviously, Tiro. He was... protected as well, as we have Dax on the same page. So far so good. Pretty much slow around, I would say, in a way, but there it is. Just like we mentioned it, the kills get to the table with Gold coming in, and he's taken after by Afla, so it's a 4v4.
That is a nice little exchange between the two as HP is looking too well, and the slow round started off from EWAVE as they didn't make much progress toward that admin side. They had a nice little switch of routes as they do take it from bathroom window, they expand from the outside to the in, and in the meanwhile, Entropy, well, they have a response. Use the Galich, stall them out, use the gadgets, stall them out as much as possible, and that's when we see these Goyo canisters popped up. The Dokkaebi trying to get some calls and flashes as well to distract, but in the meanwhile, taking some damage is going to be none other than Dex. 25 lowered, nothing as of major, but the swords. One bullet is going to be able to do the job, down them out. That's going to be a forest starter, and of course, Afla, he's there to finish the job with an impact. A nice little follow-up, of course, Aljo, he won't let it stand as he does get a 2-for-1 deal, but yet again, it's the man advantage over for Entropy here.
sincere second half of a round, we could say this way, as we have a 3v2 now. Good job by Afla, especially in Duet on the side of Entropy, and it's going to be a final 2v2 with a Geomaster trying to gather information and go up with his head, potentially for not also being traded out, but getting further in the area for this defusing, which is already on the way. Let's see how that's gonna go, because we have Pat as the final player on the side of EWAVE versus 2. It's gonna be tough for him. He tries to be alive. Finally, Pat taking Duet down. It's gonna be a 1v1 final duel here, but Rise manages to make this one happen, bringing obviously the blade to their side. Counter defusing successfully done over here. But good job by them, holding positions and then fighting well.
Oh my, Rise barely hanging on with that 2 HP for the majority of the match is an absolute miracle that he even made it to the diffuser in the first place without being stuck up. In the meanwhile, though, it is the first round. It's opened up by Entropy, and a good one at that, although it was quite close. I mean, 2 HP was all that stood before EWAVE's victory and started it off on attack. Absolute insanity. It's very early on that we see these aggressive plays, although in the meanwhile, I do like how Entropy returned these frags. EWAVE, they got one, well, Entropy, they brought it right back in the next second. They did that for once and twice and 3 times until, of course, they could safely play off of a refrag game. That's what worked out for them, and that's what got them that 1-0 score. We head over to round 2. We're downstairs in the basement. It's normal, you know, even in ranked, you tend to see these types of layups. Players go above, then they go all the way to the down, and the first floor on some maps tends to be the last resort. But taking a look at the lineup, there is going to be one band that, of course, EWAVE are going to be wishing right now they could have gotten rid of, and it's going to be none other than Jewett rocking that Bosch G.
Oh yeah, and like you said, a very good effort by EWAVE to start with the right foot on the first round, invading and breaking in. But then the follow-up was very good, like we said, for Entropy, and such a good job on, of course, dictating the pace of how they're going to respond to an invasion by EWAVE as we move into the second round. And we have some changes on the way, obviously, when it comes to the operators. The adjustments are happening, and Entropy changing slightly, changing, of course, the way they're gonna build those synergies, but potentially they're gonna try to do whatever worked out on the first round to potentially open up even more, even better this scoreboard for them against EWAVE. Now we see a little bit of the Jewett rotating. Confident player, as I said, him and Afla doing a very good offensive job on the start of this map. Let's see how EWAVE's going to respond to that, but that's already Tiro Del Rio down to the ground, and it's going to be a 5v4.
Yes, it will be. Jewett still rocking around with that Bosch G absolute menace of a gun. The slugs are ready to pop, and in the meanwhile, we have the opening. Balloons are gone, and that's going to be the Grim. An essential operator, especially for that late game. When you go in for that plant, you know, you have the Grim absolutely scouting out any angles to the peak and trying to punish off of them. A nice little exchange of damage, but not only damage, it's going to be Rise opening it up for a second here as he looks to just advance. This defense is holding it down with complicity, and while the Ram does come out and does plan to punish off Afla for now watching his right, that's going to be a nice one, but just soonly after, it's going to be Jewett coming out swinging. SMG-12, he does not need the Bosch G. He needs the secondary. That's enough for him. And Gold now on the down, absolutely taking out Dex, the final man standing here in a 4v1 situation as Entropy slowly close in on him, but they're not going to give him those bodies so easily. That's what Entropy's good at here. They don't play it risky, they don't gamble, and now they can just play a safe game of having 3 people above EWAVE's 1.
And definitely they're being like loyal to their own play style so far in the season, since they are usually stronger on the defensive rounds more than the attacking ones. If you take a look at the stats, previously that's what they do best. And there it is, just like that, we see Freddy getting this one, and EWAVE also making their appearance and coming up and saying, hey, let's see what is going to happen next, because they're up for the challenge. They don't want to stop here and get stuck on the way against Entropy. We saw a lot of EWAVE guys like falling down. We see them not being strong enough to respond. And again, Dex was trying that last one, Freddy making Entropy strong once more. So it's all about how EWAVE's gonna be attacking and changing, you know, the comfort zone, I would say, that Entropy has been building successfully.
Yeah, that's a valid point there. You know, you do want to break your enemies under pressure and put that burden on their shoulders, which is called this lead. We have a 2-0 deficit already early on from Entropy, and while though the first round may not have been as close, in the end, it was all down to a 4-1. That is a huge difference, and EWAVE seem to not have that adaptation slowly coming through, but they just don't have it. That's the problem. We need to see a change, and of course, yes, we can settle down here. It's the very early part of the round. Of course, there's no means we can see a comeback. Of course, if Entropy still get that 3-0, EWAVE, they can tie it out. They get a draw in the first half, and that's as simple as it gets. Even if Entropy here get a 4-2, 5-1 even. In the end, it's defense. They're favorable. They're a bit more comfy at the current position they're standing at. And EWAVE, I think they're just hoping to secure as much as they can before switching over to the defenders themselves.
These are small plays that definitely, change your mindset and bring some confidence level to the side, because Entropy so far have been doing what they want. And like you said, some repeated choices now, as we see Goyo, we see finally Legion coming to the game, Vigil and Mira. So Entropy knowing what they're doing, and obviously, building upon their stronger side, as I said, which is the defensive one, as we see a little bit of Juwet. So far, the best, I would say, clutcher on the side of Entropy, making the decisive kills as much as Afla. So it's a very solid exhibition so far for Entropy, and EWAVE are gonna have to be the side to, shake things around and try to change the way the round is gonna go, because their attacking efforts are not being so let's say, efficient so far versus Entropy.
At the same time, we have to take in consideration that EWAVE here are playing with a bit of a substitute. Normally it would be Dipsy on the Ashe currently, although replaced by Pat with some numbers to his name to really show that he's here for business. And EWAVE, while they do try their best, I think Entropy here have taken that into consideration, into realization, and are trying to play around that fact. Afla, in the meanwhile, that's going to be the vector on the kill score, getting out Tiro, who has been catching absolute trays, just like Rise, who has been delivering those exactly with a second. But not only that, a third here for Entropy, as he yet again shuts him down. Freddy, in the meanwhile, is exchanged, and so is another one from Pat. A nice double kill as he makes his way into sight. That distracts him just enough for Juwet to be off board. Rise, he does get Pat, but in the end, look at the score. It has changed completely. It went from a 4v2 to a 2v1, and that's enough that Aljo maybe could make a play, but of course, if Rise is still standing on both of his feet, he's going to be kicking him while he's down.
And Entropy with a very good map control, I would say, also, right? Like defending some areas and, yeah, showing themselves as the stronger side so far. Those trades all go into the side of Entropy, and they're going to be even like repeating those picks again. They don't see a lot of reasons here to change a whole bunch, their own choices. So operators wise, yeah, a lot of those standard picks and some changes. But always in a minor proportion, I would say, when it comes to how they set themselves for the next round. EWAVE having to do more, like we said, and it's been so far a very tough game for them, because it's gonna be complicated to do more and get those rounds whenever things change on the side. Entropy maybe are gonna be coming to the second half of the map like confident and stronger, but let's see how the game's gonna roll. It's kind of early too, right? A lot has happened, Buffalo, but it's still early. It's 3-0, totally reversible, obviously.
Yeah, I do like how quick Entropy are on their feet to change things once they see they're good, especially Rise. We saw him absolutely pop off in the prior round with that T5 on the Legion. Well, what do? We put him right back on it. That's exactly the idea. Screw the Mira. If we need a Mira, we're going to pick her. But right now, we need Rise to get these kills running, and we need EWAVE to change. And that's what we're seeing, kind of. I mean, the gridlock is going to be nice for Flag Watch, but my eyes are set on Tiro here. It's going to be that Blitz in action, the shield operator. If Monty's bad, you pick the one that's right best after him, the charge and targe, and he's ready for action here.
Depend much on these, surprising element kind of factor, but he's already down, so not playing a role in this round. Nice attempt here by Pat coming from the low position. and not actually picking no one, but and just like that, Entropy also capitalizing on those moments and those losses coming from UOT, as Dex was also taken down, and Gold is gonna be the last one to almost basically use this time to discuss stuff, right? Before there's nothing he can do against, with full-on Entropy gaming this round.
Oh, this is a graveyard. Entropy, it's a 5v1. EWAVE, what has happened? I mean, it's all just body bags laying across the field. It's like a war was let loose, but Entropy, they're taking it home without a doubt. This is a home run for them. Not only is it going to be a flawless as Becky swings around, that's yet again that SMG-11. We saw the 12 yet again, downgrade for 1, and Becky's still good enough for it. Entropy here, they claim the 4th round, and well, with it, they claim this positive first half. It's at least 4-2. That's the least they can take. Least key factor and key point here, because they can go 5-1, they can go 6-0, and that's going to be match point soonly after. Yet again, keep in mind that these first early rounds are what gets the blueprint running for the continuation. If we get a 4-2, well, that's 3 rounds away from victory, and that's just how much pressure this all applies onto EWAVE, as they're right now just struggling to even get some kills in. Although the first round, yet again, both these teams, maybe they needed a warm-up, maybe that's why it was close, but Entropy, oh my god, someone shut these people down. They're taking it for granted.
They're smashing EWAVE so far, and EWAVE on their side, anything they tried did not work today, right? When they came for a slower build-up on trying to go, like I said, like comparison, going in trios to try to surprise slowly the opponent and build up those movements, it was not successful. Whenever they tried like bringing a blitz, it was also not successful. So these guys are having trouble now to define what is going to be their game style versus a very strong Entropy. And Entropy, not only combining those individual qualities, obviously coming from Afla, Rise as well has been such a force in the game, but also the collective side of things is pretty much clear here. I would say it's gonna be complicated for EWAVE now, like to reverse this. It's already possible to kind of say it this way, Pofo, don't you think?
Oh yeah, I think. At the same time, we see the strategy from EWAVE. While it is quite decisive, I think it's even expected by Entropy. A possible rush could be indicated here on the yellow side. We have the blitz, we have the nice little preparation from the thermite opening, and at the same time, I think it's going to be a rush, which, of course, yes, it does necessarily catch people off guard. But in a situation where you're like this, it's a risk, a high one, and that. Smoke's coming out to try and deny something, and I don't know why Freddy's peeking, but it didn't work out well for him. As Gold, he's going to be popping his head. In the meanwhile, we see the headshot. It's confirmed in the top right, or at least was. 4v5. This is a good start for EWAVE. They look to continue, and oh, that's going to be a one-tap from Gold as he comes in swinging, and that's a triple. He is going ham. Pulls out the bearing 9, and he's ready to claim more victims, but in the end, backing from the hatch, criticality is key, and although it does find the 1, there are 2 more needed to equalize the man count.
Swapping mags.
Duet and Betty, both confident, both always strong on the 1v1, and we have Betty going for a double kill, falling down precisely at the bomb side. Let's see how EWAVE is going to be able to respond to that, but Duet takes him down, double kill, and there it is. Zero is gonna be the last man alive. We try to deal with this complicated situation. Duet smashes him. So that's a triple kill coming from Duet, and Entropy, just like that, moves forward for 5-0 here. What a start, what a map. And more than that, what I would say humiliation or reverse of expectations, Puffo, because EWAVE, they had everything, right? They had it all. And even so, the round escaped from their hands.
What was that? EWAVE, that is absolute chaos. I mean, look, I am all for going for the underdogs because EWAVE, they put up a good fight. In the end, you had it all laid out in front of you. A red carpet, trombones to the left and right. It was all laid there, and you still somehow managed to rust it down. That was a 5v2 we were looking at there, Lanex, and all it needed, all that Entropy had, was a hatch. And they still managed to get all those kills, a 2v5 to a 2v0, alongside being under the diffuser, the post-plant situation, and they hit it within time, as well as also being able to flush out the entirety of the enemy team. Absolutely insane. I am jaw-dropped. I had to take a lap around my 2 meters 2 square meter sized room, which isn't a lot, but it still counts the fact that I had to stand up after seeing that. Anyway, we need to change things. It's 5-0, and right now Entropy, if they claim 2 more, which they probably will if this continues, it's map 1 done and dusted.
Well, it's a rare kind of game where these stats are really following the reality, right? Oh, so interesting to see Entropy definitely confirming the expectations and doing such a good job, right? They're now with a 5 rounds lead, so that's fantastic for them. It's going to be very, very hard for EWAVE, because even when some players, or one player in this particular case of the last round, shines, even so it's complicated for them to have a follow-up. So it's been tough to find this sequence, as we see already a lot of kills rolling here. 5v3, we have Rise taking gold down. It's gonna be a more balanced, even kind of round, but even so, we see already Goyle trying to deny their area. We see a little bit of, obviously, Meister checking the outs and escaping, getting his rule out of this position, because it was going to be complicated for him. Entropy, again, everything in your hands. More mana now, and also, of course, a lot of rounds on the roll to play against the EWAVE. The pressure is on the EWAVE sides, definitely.
Okay. Said it. It's all laid down. Now we have this 4v3 in EWAVE. You got a kill. It's equalization. That's a nice little 3v3. It's all down to guns and arms. You get 2 kills, maybe. That's that lead back into your hands and in the ground. Nice little use of utility here from EWAVE as they shatter down the mirror window. It's a good trade of utility. In the meanwhile, though, Rise, he's on that T5 yet again, but not for much longer. Afla, though, trades it out. It was 2 kills for EWAVE, but in the end, they're reverted back to that disadvantage of count. Now playing out the hatch, a nice little 360 comes in from Pat. And while, actually, not even from Pat, it was from Afla, my mistake. Pat's on that R4C, ready to take care of this verticality that is just minorly set back on the upstairs side. But in the meanwhile, the diffuser, you have it on hands, go into that side, maybe get a pick. Right now, it's these 1v1s that are going to be allowing this player to get the clutch out. And while though it's quite expected where people are going to be swinging from, you got to watch your left, because there is a Mute thirsty with a shotgun. The Mute Jammer destroyed, but I don't think Pat here realizes the position he's stuck in. He gets a triple kill, but oh, it's close quarters here, and that's going to be the Ash charge, and you just don't see Freddy coming out of the corner. That's going to be Entropy yet again winning it out, and Lanex, it's 6-0.
Yeah, it's Freddy again, right? Freddy coming out of the shadows and defining the round. Such a good player, such a defining kind of professional that we have here, and just like that, helping the team so much, right? And you know, waiting for the last moments and waiting to make a final decision, and EWAVE was not up to the task, even though Pat did a fantastic round, right? Come on, triple kill, but then it was kind of much to see him going for a quad. But even so, Entropy are the topic here for this first map, for this first map, excuse me, Puffo. So 6-0 is fantastic, and it's gonna be looking like a rob. I don't know if we're gonna be even doing the so-called honor kind of round here.
At this point, EWAVE are just fighting to not only get a round lost in a flawless fashion, but the entirety of this map. I get it. Wait, also, this is EWAVE's map pick. I just remembered, Consulate is the pick that was given to EWAVE. They are going to lose not only their map pick, but continue in a possible 7-0 over to Entropy's map pick. Their field, their comfortability, and what they seem to be good at. Now, I don't know the exact position where Entropy and how comfortable personally they are on this map, and while the score goes it, that's clear. But in the end, the fact that we're going to another map where Entropy feels secure is quite timber shivering here, Lanex.
Yes, I mean, again, the map draft, of course, playing a massive role today here in this game. Like I said, Constellate being EWAVE's pick, and then we're gonna go to Clubhouse as the pick of Entropy. Again, and we're gonna have Night Haven as the decided. So it's gonna be cool to see how things are gonna be laying out in Entropy, if they're gonna keep this momentum, right? And going from one map to the second one, also smashing the opponents, because they are looking so solid today. I have never seen them like looking so strong and so good, obviously, in this season number 9. So I like to see that they are like finally getting to their finest level of gameplay at this very ultimate moment, right before the playoffs. So it's a very good timing for that. as we already see some level of information grabbing here from EWAVE on this floor. Master also trying to go for the ground and get these openings done and rolling here, Buffo. Tough moment for EWAVE. What are they gonna do? What is still at the table for them now here? Some level of dignity and also like some time to talk about the next map.
Yeah, I think it's honestly just up for that. What went wrong? Are we going to take this a bit more into this next map comfortably? And EWAVE, they shut down the blitz. That's going to be Becky, the one with the metal plate in front of him to protect him, taken out first. Afla taking heavy damage, going for the anti-protocality against Gold, who's just spraying down those UMP-45 bullets. 1 minute remains, and Entropy here, we need to see a bit of a faster move. You lost one player in EWAVE here. They could be looking to claim their first round. Defense is definitely something they favor, and the majority of Siege just. Let's be completely honest. Although with 1 minute remaining, Entropy, they need to get a change. I like how quickly they change out Becky. They lose him, well, Pat is going to get lost in the process. Now as we make our advance, that's going to be a nice pick from Gold onto Afla. Good 3v4. EWAVE just don't lose it. HP may not be looking too good on Gold, but he still gets those frags, and the gun here is what matters. A swing in from Freddy, just repelling in the AK-12. Black iced out to the very end, but a nice little timing from Tiro as he comes in with that Vector.
Yeah, such a good job now from EWAVE to resist and attack and keep the guys alive. And we see now a little bit of a Rise try to go for his kill number 10. Almost there, but taken down by Tiro. That was a little bit of a surprise for him, but Tiro bringing this one down. And like I said, momentum now for EWAVE. Dropping this round for the first time. So yeah, dignity is there. They're saying, okay, at least we can, you know, talk about things, how they can be better, and we can show some level here, some decency versus Entropy. It was a back and forth kind of round, right? Let's be honest too, like a lot of deaths on both sides, maybe some level of relaxation from Entropy and saying, okay, we have a very, very nice margin. Let's not, you know, push for anything bold enough. Let's just do the usual, but then EWAVE took the chance. They seized to find the first round.
EWAVE here fresh out the oven in the very last time they could be. Of course, if they didn't win this round, we would be already in the break. In the meanwhile, that was a fantastic round. I loved Entropy getting shut down because it's been one-sided, and of course, although you love seeing these intense moments where clutches are made by Entropy on the downstairs side prior, in the end, EWAVE, they've been losing majorly, and I think they're ready to return the favor right over to Entropy. It's going to be starting off with one round, and Entropy, they're going to slowly start realizing that this maybe could be dangerous. I'm interested as to why EWAVE haven't used their tactical timeout when they were on that losing spree. Maybe they just didn't consider this map to be a victory one way or another, but look at that chemistry that we saw on their defense. This is what we've been looking here from EWAVE, and it's an absolute single clap for me to start us off because we saw a kill, and even though while Entropy tried shooting back, we had people swinging in from multiple corners, completely shutting down and punishing Entropy's not teamwork-like composition.
Definitely. Like you said, EWAVE finally coming, finally, you know, showing what they're up to, but maybe too late for the first map. Entropy made almost like a kind of a masterclass first round of map. So fantastic job so far on Consulate as we see the efforts for the round number 8. And we move almost towards the end. Nice pick by Pat and Rise quickly responding. That was also a very, very much fast reply by him for this 4v4. Have a rotation by Freddy. The surprise man is up there, is on cam. Let's see what he's going to be able to do with Rise. Such a nice effort here on both players, obviously, like working closely and almost holding hands to, you know, go for the next step. As we see also Meister taking a look, taking a check from below and trying to see if someone's gonna come and do those vertical movements down. We have put for a very, very tough moment now for Entropy to wrap this one up, right? Apparently they're like having a hard time here because EWAVE are finding themselves back again.
Well, if he's decided push coming through, we still have 4 players remaining. Also, that blitz on low HP, a single C4 could do the job. And EWAVE here are rocking 4, in a matter of fact. Entropy, though, they don't need C4s to take him out. They have that blitz rushing up. That's going to be the pistol whipped, and that's an opening here from Becky, as it's followed up to Gold being down, not fully out, but that's going to be Dex in the position. It's all up down to a 1v4 if we count this Cade as not being able to pick up in time. And you have Rise swinging in, and Entropy winning at 7-1. In a Brazil-like fashion, we're going to be having a quick match right here on Consulate as first victory is going to be imminent. 6-0 was definitely showing some sort of linear storytelling, as of course that's map number 1 finished right here, ladies and gentlemen. It was quick, it was hasty, it was aggressive, but in the end only one winner can be decided, at least for map 1. We still have map number 2, which is going to be Entropy's pick, so I'm wondering how that's going to be balancing out for EWAVE. But before we get to it, before we get to the analyzation, step back to what just happened. We're going to be taking a small little break, and we'll be back with you as soon as we possibly can be. Well, we are back as soon as we possibly could have been, and that was no lie. But it's in the position where we go into map number 2, since the first one was a 7-1, extremely dominant for Entropy as they continue to do so in the second one, and it's gonna be none other than Clubhouse. Yet again, I'm gonna be Puffo Bob here, joined by the lovely Lane X. And how are we looking into the second match?
It's going to be very interesting because I would say it's going to be story defining, right? We have two teams like with different moments. Whatever they done on the first map is going to have to be reset, especially coming from E-Wave. They're going to have to do a better job, especially on the attacking side, which proved to be tough for them. Now, Entropy are the dominant ones here. They dominated the stats, expectations. They have been doing a good job when it comes to the rounds themselves. So yes, everything working on the side of Entropy. And for the sake of the gameplay, let's hope for a third map. But there it is, map number 2. And so on the hands, Buffalo, it's gonna be cool to see how things gonna roll on club.
Yes, it will. In the meanwhile, we couldn't get to this earlier, so let's do it right now. Let's check out the player stats of today. You know, we couldn't have done it earlier, but just keep in mind that, of course, it's not going to be on E-Waves. It's not, I do believe, Dipsy playing, but replaced for Pat. But we take a look at this and we see some positive, some negative KDs, and in the air for competition, this is all fine and well. Although for Entropy, I do spot a bit more consistency throughout the entirety of the team, rather as E-Wave, they seem to be a bit more one-sided on some players rather than the others, specifically looking at Dipsy, who's missing, and Gold here.
Definitely, and that's what we saw in the first map. Gold being pretty much that guy that has the confidence, has the pack to go forward and to be the first one to make the picks. And on the other hand, we could see also Master making some nice plays. Tiro, Del Rio was kind of the same player of Gold when it comes to going for the kills. And now I would totally agree with you. Like Entropy Gaming are having a more, I would say, stable overall kind of strong squad here, not depending on one or other players. And basically, we have casted almost all of these players on the side of Entropy, making, defining, making key plays to put this 1-0 on the scoreboard for them. And especially Freddy coming on some small occasions. I would say he was the surprising guy on their side. So other players more up front. But all in all, Entropy having a better roster, I would say, technically speaking, today at least, versus E-Wave, doing a good job. And again, for putting totally the pressure on the side of E-Wave, they're gonna have to step up and show what they're up to into club. Let's see which kind of music's gonna be rolling in the club. If it's gonna be to the taste of E-Wave or to the taste of Entropy.
Yeah, it's really going to have to show how the beats are going to be working here, because at the same time, it's club. This is a map that decides if a team is better than the other, because it's a map at the same time that's a pillar, a stead of Rainbow Six Siege itself. Clubhouse, we've seen it. You've seen it. If you don't know the map, do not play competitive. Simply, it's as good as that, because it's been throughout the comp pools for so long. It is so well recognized, and it is the common map. It has been the standalone pillar for Rainbow Six Siege competitive maps. And with it, it does not come down to strategy. It does not come down to adaptation. It comes down to playstyle, how well the chemistry is, communication, and teamwork. Going into it, we also have to start off with the attacker and defender bans as the operators are coming about. And honestly, yet again, I'm going to be expecting that Monty to come around.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, but there it is. Not today, Thatcher. So it's the first ban. That should be rare, shouldn't it,
Yeah.
Buffo? Because Thatcher taking off this possibility, let's say, how Entropy is going to be banning. And I just wanted to mention that when it comes to the map pool, both sides, they have like very, very varied map pools so far in the championship. So they do not rely, upon like just one kind of map or the other. But so it's going to be cool to see how these expectations are going to be rolling, as we see already the Monty, switching things back to the normal here, let's say.
Okay, Thatcher. Well, that got me off guard for a second. It's interesting that as well, E-Wave Bandit, they're starting off the defense, which gives me a sort of idea that they want to force a pick onto Entropy, specifically that Maverick. Now, either you can leave that Thatcher out and go for a second objective, but going on CC, going on Jim, you need someone to help out with Breach. And the best two operators to do that with the Hard Breacher included, you have that Thermite Maverick, Thermite Thatcher combo. So if you don't have the Thatcher, you're gonna have to force that Maverick, which just gives me some sort of questions as what E-Wave are planning here. In the meanwhile, though, the ban coming out over the Cade for Entropy to counterpact that Thatcher. Back in the day of Siege, it wasn't Azami, it wasn't Monty that was banned so oftenly. It was normally the dynamic duo of Thatcher and Cade. So that's interesting to see a bit of nostalgia slowly making its way through, as the final ban here is also going to be the Melusi, which we saw in the first map.
Yes, and Melusi not coming for the potential picks here. It's interesting because usually it's like kind of slow down punishment kind of operator that's not going to be at the hands of teams. So let's see how they're going to be rolling without it as we already jump and hop into the first round of the second map. It's going to be interesting because we also see some changes on the operators. Now, Fenrir, we're going to be seeing some other ones. I'm seeing now Meister already rolling and working pretty much on this basement area. Let's see how they're going to be defending here because Entropy are going to be attacking. And the question comes out both of, is Entropy going to be able to build that kind of leverage when they're attacking, right? They're going to have to prove that they're up to this task because they have not done so far in the championship. Their defensive sides, as I said before, have been the stronger ones, but now this is a new game. Excuse me, I would say it's a new opponent. So let's see how they face each other here.
You said it. We're going to need to see something from Entropy here, specifically because they're on the attack. If they can sit back, relax, and drink a hot cup of coffee, because honestly, it's a defense. It's a bit more simple. You let the attackers come to you, and you don't need to be proactive, although sometimes it doesn't work out. Yet again, there is no need. Entropy, they're under the pressure of time itself, and at the same time, this objective called the bomb to plant it down. We go into it. We see the Brava earlier. We saw her banned, so it's going to be interesting to see how she comes in play, hacking those main cams as well. The Echo Yokais, those are going to be in play. Maybe even Aljo's, of course, Fear Toxins. It's all going to come into play, and the Brava is honestly a fantastic pick. In the meanwhile, though, going for the verticality, you have the Buck Ram. It's a nice little dynamic duo as well, especially on this side and alongside the Habana, which, it's hatches in play here. Of course, you're going to pick the Habana.
Yeah, you could go for that direction, definitely. And talking about the bans, I would also say, sorry, that Entropy, they have not banned, obviously, Azami, they like to do that, but instead of also like banning Brava, they brought it to their side, so it's going to be interesting to see what they can actually do affirmatively with the operator. And when it comes to E-Wave, not taking off the Cabby and Vigil, which are common bans for them, but on the other hand, not being able to use Melusi here. So yeah, a little bit of a change on scenario for both sides. Operators-wise, as we have a very slow already, like kind of middle portion of the first round with the camp on Pat to be able to make potentially a first pick. He's a very, very good player on that matter, also using, those visions and getting out of the cover and taking opponents down. But yeah, so far a long kind of build up for the first round. But just like that, we see already Entropy rolling and finding the spots and creating chaos. Now on the hands of Afla, he's going for a first attempt, but not able to take Golden down because Gold was resisting halfway when it comes to HP, and Master takes Duet to the ground for a potentially good start for Duet here.
It's a good start, something we couldn't have mentioned earlier, and now it's something we will love to see and hear from these players. E-Wave, they're on the defense. Not only are they leaving Entropy here down to the last 30 seconds, in the meanwhile, they are completely shutting them down. While Afla, he does make an entrance. It's going to be a quick exit by Pat here as he offers up the door, and well, Afla, he has to take it because there's no other offer when bullets are shot, and of course, sprays are coming through with the guns. Nice little flank comes out from Rise, although he isn't able to finish the job. A flank out from Pat as he comes out from above, like Batman, he scores through the sky and gets a nice pick. And in the meanwhile, Pat on an absolute spree. Although he couldn't have replaced Dipsy earlier, well, he's surely here to do it now.
And like I mentioned, Pat, very, very good at finding, those small, tiny, I would say half pixels, and that's what he did. He was able to, capitalize on that because it's a very, I would say, narrow area, right? We know that that's not a lot of space or room that you have to make that kind of breach in, and Entropy just felt that they were not able to, create the play. They were not able to do anything when it comes to invading and also healing opponents on that area. So EWAVE, they were very, very good, very solid. Not letting the clock do their job, but also actively playing and denying potential spots of entrance. So very good job by EWAVE opening this 1-0 and already changing, right, the landscape compared to the first map. They suffered a lot on the first spots and rounds, obviously, from Consulate, but now changing things and saying, hey, we're here, we can do something to it.
I don't know what devious tricks were coming out from Entropy's cards, because I saw a Blackbeard for a second, and that honestly had me jumping out of my seat. Because Blackbeard, well, it's a one in a millennia type of thing. You just don't see Blackbeard ever, and especially with his rework coming around the corner. I'm honestly surprised to see him even be picked for a possibility. Maybe it was a bit of a troll from Entropy. The case in point being here that EWAVE, they won the first round. And that's good. It's a good start, switching it up from how previously it went down. It's also Entropy's pick. This is their map, so Entropy should be a bit more comfortable on it, speaking statistically and of course logistically. Now, taking a nice little approach, EWAVE, we see the extension right over towards that cache side. The Azami, she plays over to it. She has the Kiba barriers, and those are going to be of great use, especially on stalling out. The Flores Rise, he's using those drones to take out the castles, but reserve some of them, please, because the Azami barriers are going to be a burden later on.
Yeah, it's going to be more to protect those movements and also the bomb, like we say. So yeah, I would say it's kind of a more I would say stable, steady kind of defensive effort, right? Without moving so much, without roaming so much, or maybe like stacking more to an area. Let's see if that's gonna play to their favor against Entropy, who are trying to reach in. We have already Maverick. We're gonna see potential entrance at this spot, and Entropy now having to play a different kind of game, being more patient and trying to understand what is this new wave that EWAVE is bringing to the map, because they're already behaving differently, and some players are going to be potentially meeting up here, as we see Meister. A nice roll with the camera to see another attempt here by Freddy. We don't know now which kind of movement is going to be the fake one, right? Just to bring the attention of our opponent, and which one's going to be the real one, because we have players working on the flanks. Batchy on one side, Freddy on the other one. We have also Batchy coming hard here, and he was trying to do his job, but Pat was again a very solid defensive player to not allow them to move onwards. And we see EWAVE again capitalizing on that. 5-man versus 2. It's going to be good for them to follow on this track.
Absolutely cornered. Entropy here having no response. They've lost 3 players, followed up with the 4th. It's not going to be a flawless just yet, as Freddy does fight back for a second. But can we talk about the performance of Pat here? It's been 2 rounds, and he's racked up 3 kills in each. Absolute insanity. He's going off the charts and stockpiling bodies time after time again. As Entropy, they don't have a response to counter him. He's the Rise that was previously showing himself through, and he is what is going to change EWAVE's these first 2 rounds. If he keeps going and Entropy don't focus him down, well, it's going to be quite dangerous. Shots are through. Freddy's alone in the situation, and while though he did pick off Pat due to him being just a bit too aggressive and overstepping his boundaries, in the end he's left down to these 30 seconds, goes on the Revel, maybe get some information, whatever the case in point being, tries also flashing to get that sort of second diversion that maybe he's going into logistics while trying to sneak up to this diffuser. The drop makes it imminent, and that's going to be Dax, MP7 in hand, there to put the coup de grace in.
Yeah, such a good job. Both teams, I would say, trying to understand better each other. It's definitely club allows you for those different gameplays, and it's some spaces of the map obviously are like smaller and shorter, and they're gonna force you to play together. So also that's how you learn more on how to maneuver on these occasions. Specifically, EWAVE obviously going for the second round and doing a better job on starting things off. So proving that the games see you rather defensive on some maps, but Entropy, they shouldn't care about that. They should do their own trigger, and they're changing the operators. They're gonna have to, finally come and appear in the map, because it's been tough for them so far, Purple.
It's been rough. It's been rough. Earlier, we saw Entropy. They had, 6-0 in the first half. I thought this was going to go in a similar fashion, but I was dead to rights wrong. EWAVE here are going to be taking out the first two. It's a flawless score, and with it, they're forced to go for a 3-round deficit, or a 3-round rotation. And this is where I just don't get the point of EWAVE. They banned out the Thatcher, who is so strong on CC and Cash. So now you have some sort of strength on this site. But they end up going bar. It's a contradiction over a contradiction per square, and it doesn't make much sense to me personally. But if EWAVE are liking this first floor site that is used yet again once in almost never, I'll let them do them because they're the ones winning the rounds as of current.
Yeah, you said it right. I mean, you know, you're gonna change when you feel the opponent's beginning to gain some grasp and you know, finding some air in the game, but then yeah, I wouldn't say like it's gonna be totally down to the specific operators, but I would say it's down to the mindset and how they're gonna be building up on that. And EWAVE, since they're doing it right, they're, you know, getting the rounds, just keep doing that. As we see already that Dax is suffering very low HP, so let's see how they're gonna be dealing with that for the remainder of the round. And Entropy so far not coming out of the 0 spot, very unsettling for them. And Afla, just like I say, taking Pat down and after like being brought down against the Meister, so it's a complicated moment for Entropy. They need those kills, they need those trading moments, otherwise they're gonna be falling behind against the Wave.
Gonna be a bit of a backtrack, as of course while Entropy do manage to get the HPs running low and EWAVE don't necessarily have that Doxstim ready on the go, it's gonna be this 3v4 situation that's handled to them, and it's still a disadvantage nonetheless. A drop out from Red is gonna be working in Ryze's favor as the FAMAS comes out swinging from main, and Jouet on that AK-12 absolutely gunning it down. Now it's down to Gold and Dex, who's Dex, I mean, he's one breath away from absolute death and sentence, as Gold is gonna have to push it down to his limits. It's basically a 1v3 as long as we do count Dex to be already out, but he still gets some shots in, good ones at that, lowers the HP of Jewett, and while though he does reveal himself and locks himself over towards this kitchen side, which is going to be a difficult way to advance, I think the main danger priority we should take a look at is the Gold here. And a C4 from Dex just to trade himself out. The plant is going down, and Gold, he needs to slowly push things up. Otherwise, of course, there's going to be no proactivity here from Entropy. They can sit back. Now they're working with the time against EWAVE. And of course, the 1v2, Entropy here, they want to take it as much as they can. A run out comes out, and that's going to be Ryze falling to that UMP. It's down to the 4-1v1. It's absolutely close, but in the end, it's gonna be slowly closing in. The shotgun comes swinging, but Becky, he's there to deny it.
Becky, what a shotgun and right on your face. And I mean, that kind of play would necessarily need a strong shotgun shoot. That's what he did out of nothing and surprising the opponent. And I was just gonna mention that Ryze, he's such a magisterial kind of repicker kind of player, right? He manages to find the first shoot, and then he just, you know, escalate that to a second kill, potentially a third one. So it's a very good play when it comes to giving that follow-up to the play. He was trying his best, obviously, to the end. Entropy found the round, excuse me, with Batchy also stepping up. So that's what it's about, right? Entropy, they seem to have this kind of phoenix spirit of, you know, rising again and showing themselves as strong. They are finding this first round, and it could be a changer for the remainder of the map. Let's see if that's gonna be it, or if the Wave is gonna be seizing control again over the pacings of things. But now we have Gold moving down here, some level of protection. We have the escape tunnels also being used by Tiro. It's a very good game overall, isn't it? For such a back-forth game, I like these kind of games where, you know, again, where the, as you said before, the not so strong team, let's say this way, finds a way to, you know, to reverse expectations and build up some rounds. We have already some action rolling here, but not a lot of kills so far.
Oh, not at all. Entropy finally deciding to play a bit into that blitz. I do believe they pulled them out in the first round. Not sure about it. Memory isn't sticking with me. But we have the blitz. We have the Dokkaebi. 2 power moves from Entropy here as they do want to claim more rounds. Even though they are on the attack, of course. Yet again, like I said, defense is preferable, but this is Clubhouse overall. both sides should be quite equal, and the statistics necessarily don't show it, but who goes by the statistics? Let's be honest.
Right.
We're going here by pure players, and definitely Entropy earlier showed themselves to be strong, to be feared, and I think they're looking to make a bit of a resituated play with it.
And Entropy, interestingly, when he looks to the last rounds of the championship, they have always like started loser, right? So they finally are finding a way to reverse that. As we see already, Rise taking Dex down. Let's see how that's going to be followed up. Entropy looking stronger on this round number 4 as they have 1 man ahead against EWAVE. We see a little bit of Rise protecting the spot. He's gonna play it. It's gonna be a very interesting play. He's gonna just jump in, and also having someone else behind him. So it's gonna be very, very tricky for EWAVE to see that coming. Try to prevent the disaster from happening because EWAVE, they have their momentum, but now Entropy is trying to change that, trying to go for the equalizer.
Going to find that 2-2 score for themselves. They started off nicely. Dex is going to be a good addition to the kill feed. But in the meanwhile, you need to continue. You have 1:10 on the clock, slowly counting us down. And there's got to be some sort of progress. It seems like they're a bit of at a standstill, but Avla there is going to be canceling it out. Calls are coming out to relay some information. Rise taking heavy damage, but the plant is going down in the meanwhile. Using these Goyo canisters against the defenders is going to be great use of utility. But in the meanwhile, EWAVE, they slowly start fighting back, quite honestly. Becky, he gets gold. That's going to be a good fragger off the board. Leaves the Deimos, or not the Deimos, the Fenrir and the Echo left standing on their own guns and arms as they try to fight back. But I don't think eliminations are going to be coming here as swiftly as they imagine. The SMG-12 from Jewett, and a second one at that. He's good enough for both, and he finishes the job as Entropy here are going to be equalizing it out.
Oh yeah, that was a good one. That was a very, very good, I would say, attack plan. And on this side of EWAVE, we could, expect more from that. Like you said, the Goyo work, bringing the canisters and, of course, not allowing that area to be explored. It was complicated for them to do that, and just like that, Entropy find their way to an equalizer, and that could be like a very, very interesting moment for both sides. Entropy could be finding a way to reverse. EWAVE can be losing eventually the control of things. Let's see how that's going to roll, because ideally you would love to have a lot of those defensive rounds to your side, as we know. And Entropy did that on the first map. Let's see how that's going to play from now on.
Gonna have to see how that comes into later. Hopefully it's gonna be clutching out these 2 rounds that EWAVE captured for themselves, while Entropy are slowly getting back into the groove of things. And they try to reset this beat that was given to them earlier. They get the 2 rounds back. That's great. We love a nice little equalization. It shows that these teams are quite close, especially in a map such as Clubhouse, which shows that, EWAVE are not to be messed around with. The Entropy here, they were earlier barking, but now they're barking at the wrong tree. And EWAVE, well, they're more than just bark. They are bite as well. They get those 2 rounds. It's a good first start. It gets this 4-2 at least for one of the teams, or maybe even a 3-3, which would be just balance incorporated. Although making an approach here, we do see the Scopos in play here from EWAVE, which is going to be the newest addition to Rainbow Six Siege operator on the defense.
Let's see how it's going to be played. Yeah, definitely a very interesting element to make this game even more tasty and spicy. Scopos coming out in the hands of Pat, and EWAVE counting a lot, right, on some players, counting on their, like I said before, level of fire onto being successful on those 1v1 situations. Entropy relying more upon the team play, the teamwork, and it's playing good, and it's playing well for them. As we have Afla opening, the Pixel here try to go down, again, try to go closer to someone from EWAVE. We have already Freddy going for this potential bullets. We're gonna be seeing his attempt, but not taking anyone down. 2v2, complicated moment, tense moment, right? Definitely, it's a very different scenario compared to Consulate. Again, Rise taking Tiro down for Pope. The game is rolling interestingly, and Entropy is looking solid, looking good now.
We need to unfold what's happening here. I mean, the Echo being taken off is no good. He's a lead game operator to try and deny that plant, and having him off the board is going to be like taking out a smoke, maybe at the Chanka. It's no good, to say the least. Pushes out coming. That's going to be Gold. TCSG-12 in hand. It's a strong gun, and even better when Gold is using it in the right hands. With great power comes great responsibility, but with it also comes Freddy with a second opening here for Entropy. 4v3, while the HP isn't looking too good on the buck, and 1 Legion Goo is going to be enough to set the job done. We have him in minute remaining. These attackers have set themselves a high standard, not only taking verticality, breaches on this church side, but also look at this pressure. Laojo, he's sticking to a corner, so is Gold. Every single player here on EWAVE is just trying to play off of these crossholds, play off of safe angles, and not play aggressively because they know they can. That's the position they've been given, and while though they accepted it, there's not much else we can do. Slowly taking in Entropy, they're droning out, getting that information that they so keenly need, just trying to go for those drops. Now, is it going to be Kitchen? Is it going to be the side of Club or Moto? We're going to have to see. Pings coming out from defense, 30 seconds, slowly taking this down. Information that one may be on blue, but I don't think Alja here, he did not see the S. He's just going for random pre-fires, and although being a bit of a teaser, some may say, a bit of a jester, we have 20 seconds and Entropy, we need to make a move, and that's going to be a bit of a run-around game of tag here, as Apple, he finds one, traded out in the meanwhile, is going to be down, but not completely out. Friday in the meanwhile is going to be joining, of course, Jewett down 6 foot under, but Rise, there's that F2, Gold is all that left standing, and Becky, he's going to be putting him down.
Becky always being the guy, you know, to totally put the nail on their casket. Is such a good player to, you know, have that follow-up and have alongside with you. And he's a very, very good, I would say, player to complement the plays itself. So, yes, Entropy managing to bring, you know, those players close, and synergy is there. We can see them rise into the occasion. 3-2 is going to be good to see, and definitely responsibility also, you know, on the shoulders of Entropy to keep the level, the aggression, the pacing, not allow UOT to reverse this one, you know, find the equalizer, and again, going for a positive scoreboard on their side. Let's see what is going to be rolling. I like how Entropy are, you know, seizing the moment and say, hey, we want to win this one. We don't want to like have to play in heaven. Let's not get to that point, to that moment. And UOT on their side, they're like, you know, having such a complicated moment now to get back to their peaceful decisions, right?
Yeah, it is right, because EWAVE, while though I honestly like the 2-round play games, I feel like the teamwork just snapped out of nowhere, and it also was spotted on Kanzi. The second they switched over to defense, the first round on defensive after this first half was finished, I mean, EWAVE were completely shutting down Entropy. I mean, they were clicking the power button time and time again for each player here, and while though they seem to continue that into the second half, it's slowly getting a bit more loose. I don't think Entropy here are going to be taking it for granted. The adaptation is through. We love the blitz. It's a bit more common. And yet again, Rise, just like earlier, Entropy, they saw him be quite useful on that Legion. They left them standing on the Legion. That's where those T5 pops were just going absolutely off. Maybe the blitz, maybe he isn't getting as much kills, but definitely the usefulness of the operator itself is coming in clutch here. It is the final round of the first half, and Afla here is going to be starting us off. We have information that one's stuck on top red, and Afla completely shutting him down, holding him hostage. In the meanwhile, though, it's going to be Pat going down with a fight, just not completely out, though. He's still waiting for that to come around the corner and finding himself Rise.
Yes, and losing Rise in such an early stage of the round is complicated. You're not gonna have that, you know, damage power or level that they would expect to have in the end. But let's see, because Dex is taking Freddy down, and it's already looking sad, looking grim for Entropy. 2 men down to try to keep this advantage. Jewett, even so, he goes against Dex. He manages to find a kill. We have a little bit of Jewett again exploring a lot of this window. As we had in the between, Afla being taken to the ground, and it's the moment. It's the chance for EWAVE to bring this one up against Entropy and not allow them to grow so much in the game. Betty and Jewett, yeah, it's a very, very good pack of players to have to face in the end. See how they're gonna play this one.
Have to see it. And those are the Goyo canisters slowly shutting down Entropy, whatever remains of them. And it's going to be Becky slowly taking that fire damage. But it comes out that EWAVE here are going to have the third round in luck as they come out swinging. And in the meanwhile, we are going to have to slowly take it to round number 7. It's the first half finished, going over to the second. 3-3. You can see how much of a difference on score this has been. Linux earlier was 6-0. Now it is an equalization between the two teams. It is absolutely close, and it is down to the wire for EWAVE because they need to win this here, or otherwise they are out and they have no more chances in this bracket.
Definitely, yeah. They want to seize this one because like we said before, they need to keep pushing for the playoffs. And it's yeah, it's do or die for both teams. And UOT definitely playing better as smaller map, right? Comparing Consulate to Bloodhouses, we know like Consulate's gonna have more open areas, and UOT are exploring better those smaller spaces. And Entropy, on the other hand, they're having a tougher time. But let's see, because things are being changed now, swapped into a defensive moment for Entropy. Maybe they're gonna be finding themselves again. And nailing this one. That's how they have been liking to play, right? Because they've been playing better at protecting and at stalling, and of course denying spaces to the opponent. So I'm very, very curious to see how Entropy is going to be playing this one, because definitely things did not kick off here on the second map as they wanted. So yeah, it's all about adjustment. It's all about improving and fighting the bullets as well. Rise, we have to remember that Rise, he was almost to 10 eliminations, I would say, on the first map. Now he's already feeling that it's a more balanced and complicated map, so things changed, and so have both sides, I would say.
It's not as critical for EWAVE just as yet, unless we get Entropy back to that 2-round lead. I think EWAVE are still looking quite positive. Still opportunities, although they may not be on the side they probably prefer. It's still attack, it's Clubhouse. I think this is the perfect opportunity to bring it over to that Nighthaven decider. And of course, we need a bit more aggression from them. EWAVE, they've been good at stalling, and they've been good at wasting time. That's what you said, Linux, and that fits defense perfect. Now we need that attack. We need that aggression. And look at EWAVE bringing exactly that. Pat somehow sneaked down main and managed to damage out Freddy. This is going to be huge, but oh, Rise, what a C4. He read him like a book, and 12 steps ahead. That's going to be C4 right below your feet. And that's an early pick here for Entropy Gaming.
That's that's such a winner. Massive kind of prediction on the play, like you said very well. So Rise, Rise into the occasion and almost see things behind their times. I loved how he was so smart and so spot on to not allow Pat to grow so much. So yeah, Entropy ready with one more man. And like you said, it's all about building that advantage, that kind of 2 rounds edge that would totally put you on a different level. So far, things are so equal, and it's very, very much hard to see who's going to be taking this one. As we see now, Entropy totally confident and stalling and using time to their favor. There's an opening here that Alpha is not going to allow UOT players to come down from that spot. Let's see if he's going to be still playing at that position. Duet is also rotating, so Entropy is playing at a slower pace now.
What's so interesting here is going to be Tiro. He's walking that Ying. We haven't seen the operator just as of yet today, I believe. Maybe my memory's lacking, or maybe I'm correct. Whatever the case is here, Ying has not been a reoccurring operator, and we love to see her. Because of how strong she is, those Candelas, they absolutely blind not only rooms, but entire sites to continue alongside it. Aljo, he's going to be taken off. That's going to be the 8. It's an unfortunate turn of events. Next, peeking out to hatch to claim any soul living over by this generator side. And the C4 is going to be claiming 1. Afflo with the second, and Becky follows up. A nice little triangle kill coming through as they make it just work overall. The C4, a second one in the round. If one wasn't enough, well, of course, Entropy, they want more, and they claim it out. A nice little round for them, as in the meanwhile, we're going to be having a bit of a timeout. Now here, we are having technical issues in the background. It's nothing of the sorts, if nothing major. So just not to disrupt, just not to off-throw the balance, we're going to be throwing you to a small little break. And stay tuned, because it's about to get just that much more intense. Well, we don't lie, and here we are back again. Nothing has changed except that score. It's 4-3, but things stayed the same. Sweet Puffle Bob, of course, after this little break. Lanex is still with us, and Lanex, how are we doing?
Yeah, we're doing fine. I would say even better in the second map, because we like to see it's a very balanced game, and that's the case. EWAVE, they have showing more to us compared to Consulate, and we see in Entropy, on the other hand, now they also doing their own thing and like getting back to points and also producing rounds against EWAVE. So let's see how that's gonna roll. Now Bad Tree protecting this spot here, but there it is. It's gonna be a very interesting rob of a map, and I'm eager to see how things are gonna be rolling.
Nice little setup. First time we're seeing CC and Cash here, I believe, which is interesting. Yet again, the EWAVE, you ban out of that Thatcher and then don't play. CC and Cash, interesting. They lost that round on defense, but in the end, it is what it is. And now Entropy are looking to make the most of it. Actually, it's not even CC and Cash. They're just extending over to it. That's going to be my mistake. It's still Gym and Bedroom. One of the best, if of course some teams do consider it the best map. But oh, what an early kill here from Freddy as he takes out the heavy frag or pass. He had such a good start, but now it's all seemingly crumbling apart. Affla, in the meanwhile, does join him 6 foot under. It's a nice little exchange, but taking out the Ash for the Mozzie, I'd say it's quite equal.
Yeah, we've seen also Rise using the gym area as rotation happens on the hands of Dachi to try to, you know, keep the strength of the team in this area. Also have some movement out of there with Aljo managing to get information. We have Tiro inside of there, so it's a nice breach for them, potentially leading to the bomb side area. So we have some information also in the hands of Gold. So yeah, both teams having to operate with 4 guys, with 4 players. Let's see how they're gonna be doing this one. Do it to launch and have the information. Let's see how that's gonna roll. Camera in a lot. We're gonna see a bunch of the same, right? Well, because both teams, they are working to their best, and I would say it's a more I would say fair to what they produced before kind of map, right? It's closer to similar rounds of like going and going back, and some kills on the way already for EWAVE at this point. Aljo taking him down. We have Freddy now with 2-way to try to solve this puzzle. 2v4. It's gonna be very, very tough for them.
So will be all these shots not landing are going to be a huge misplay here from Freddy. He could have had a triple kill. He just stayed silent. Jued, he manages to get this 1v1 going and take out one from construction. Moves out through bathroom rotation and goes over to the Slodgy side where Dex is waiting for him patiently. And that's a pick here for EWAVE as they get the 4th round. Managed to get that leverage not in their hands, but they're 1 round closer to it. And with it, they equalize it back to this 4-4. We're back to the square one. And now this is where it gets dangerous. It's this 4-4 score, maybe even 5-5. Once you get that within the reach of match points of a 1 round, 2 round deficit, that's when you really start applying the pressure. So whoever is going to be winning the following rounds here is definitely going to have some sort of upper hand. It's either going to be UWAVE or it's going to be Entropy. Entropy, in the meanwhile, you lost upstairs. You're going to take a second chance because Gym is the best site besides downstairs itself. So, of course, giving it a second time, seeing what was wrong, adapting upon it, and fixing up what was broken earlier. That's what we need to do. UWAVE, in the meanwhile, they had a good performance. That double kill that changes from a 4v4 to a 4v2 was huge. Yet again, though, quite questionable play from Freddy. If he could have been just a slight bit patient, you know, holding that mirror, 3 people would have rushed into construction. Those would have been picks. That would have been a round changer. In the end, though, he didn't necessarily execute off of it, and with it, he also got taken out in the presence of course, that gridlock.
Definitely, and now more of action from both sides with EWAVE proving their points and yeah, trying to make a way into a potential victory here. Not even looking, you know, each round after round like more feasible, closer to reality here as they potentially decided map on this game. Let's see how that's gonna be played out because Entropy, yes, they need to get back to those I would say bold decisions, right? Some very, very good fights that they could pick on the first map, especially coming from Jued. It's a guy that is not, you know, he needs, I don't know, I think both teams are relying on collective decisions, but we have seen more of the individual plays on the first map, and maybe that's what we need to see more here. It will get interesting, obviously, not that we need, but like we've seen a lot of triple kills on Consulate. It will be awesome to see them obviously also here on Clubhouse, as we see already some of these preparations on the way, and now it's going to be up to EWAVE how to break this one in. So we have Freddy protecting the spots. We have Pat also trying to go for Pat things. He loves to try and find those sneaky peeks. See if he's going to be able to find a first elimination over here, but
I love EWAVE's pick of operators. Seeing as the Thatcher's banned, you know, they go for those impact TMPs. At the same time, walking operators that help their strategy and work alongside them. It's the Gridlock with AMPs and also the Dokumi. In the meanwhile, though, Rise L2A3, that's a strong gun. It's slow, but it definitely packs quite a punch. and that was proven through. But yet again, when you miss those shots in return, it's going to be Tiro who does punish you for exactly that. A nice little seasoning as they do get some extra damage towards Freddy, who's left down to 18. At close quarters, that shotgun is going to go deadly. Yes, you are correct, but when stepping into anything, well, you're going to be at a disadvantage, not for much longer. That's going to be that dock used to its full potential. The stim being used, that's already a positive. In the meanwhile, though, we need some exchanges here, and Entropy have to not only waste a bit more time, but at the same time, an opening frag here would be quite essential.
Yes, and on that, Freddy playing the time, expecting, waiting to see what is going to happen. Entropy now kind of freezing, the time and not making any appearance, and obviously waiting for EWAVE to jump in and make the decisions. As we have Gridlock in the hands of Hero, he's gonna try to get an information. He saw someone else's arm, I guess, coming out of the cover. Afla taking Pat down. Tiro is gonna come for this one, takes Betchy down. Nice movement, and Betchy not allowing himself to find this bullet and inflict damage as he wanted from a distance. We have finally Jewett on hands on the side of Entropy to find two opponents. Jewett taking gold, and that's gonna be interesting because Dax is the alive player for EWAVE. Gonna go lower, try to actually get close to the spot. We have now Dax going for this potentially. Let's see against Jewett. Oh no, not able. Jewett was right there. He was ready for that. So there it is, point 4.
Fabulously played by Jua there, went off back, unexpected shot coming out from top main to get that 1v1 going. And at the same time, Entropy were a bit more adhesive in the background to take out time off of EWAVE's clock, steal it a bit from them, and have it all down to the remaining 5 seconds for the plan to come out from Dex, as it was expected. Maybe even a C4 could have been used if Jewett was rocking it. In the end, though, you play it safely, you back off, come back up when time is due, and with it, there's no other option besides EWAVE to force that plan down. Hope you can get it in time. And while though it was quite close, in the end, it just wasn't close enough. There was no cigar to be delivered. Entropy here, they take the 5th round for themselves. Round number 9 is theirs. And we move on to the second, this double-digit round that we just didn't see earlier. This 10th round is now about underway and ready to go. Entropy here, they win this round. It's downstairs, by the way. This is a very dominant side in general. For all of Siege, I think the Church would be one of the better sides overall. At the same time, if Entropy here win it, it's match point.
Definitely, and that has been the trend, right? Entropy, they have been seizing this leadership, I would say, against EWAVE because they found themselves into a 3-2 and then a 4-3, now 5-4. So always leading against EWAVE, who on the other hand, like they're able to respond to that and get one round. Let's see if EWAVE's gonna be able to eventually equalize and then build like 2 rounds in a row. So I don't know though, like Entropy looking solid, looking strong. Let's see, because they are seizing their defensive rounds. I like to see both sides. I've been liking to actually watch and cast these teams. Let's see what they're going to be bringing to the table, as we have Red Dex rotating. We have an effort now from EWAVE to not lose these players and also get information and find the best spot to attack. A bit of a rotation out from Audio, but there it is. Everybody standing up and alive here. Buffo, it's going to be good to see how Jewett's going to be escalating this damage. Double kill on his hands, and EWAVE looking very, very grim now, very sad. Only 2 guys alive is going to be complicated to use on the offensive round. They potentially kill, oh my lord, Tiro double kill. Rise taking him down though for a 2v1, and Dex is going to be the last one to try to do something here, coming for the combat, and Rise was the guy present there to bring these bullets down. And Entropy managing to build 2 rounds in a row. Interesting prospect for them, isn't it?
Can we talk about Rise there? What just happened? I mean, my goodness. It was a triple kill for EWAVE. Keep that in mind. EWAVE, they had such a good advantage. We had Ying Candelas coming out, the Ying as well. That LMG was absolutely going on a blast. In the meanwhile, though, Rise, he stands his ground. He puts him down in the dirt, and it's match point for Entropy here. He's in the following 2 rounds. All they need is 1. 2 50-50s, and one of them, the coin flip, they get heads, they bet on it. and this is all over. EWAVE, this is that critical situation that you weren't under earlier, but surely are looking at as of current. 6-4. 2 more rounds need to equalize it out. As one of them is lost, Entropy here take it. It's CC and Cash. This is going to be the official first time we actually see this. Also loving the Freddy on the Bandit, because I mean, who doesn't love a good old Bandit trick every now and then? Although we don't have any operator necessarily decent for Raptors. I'd expect a bit more Azami, maybe even Wamai, but there's going to be no showing of those.
Definitely. And Entropy and UOT, you know, proving that sometimes the stats and numbers, they do not show us the reality. I just want to mention that Entropy has never played Clubhouse in this season so far. There it is. They are winning. On the other hand, UOT, they have already won a Clubhouse versus Project Black, excuse me, on the first round of the championship, and they have won, but now not the case against Entropy. So again, reality versus expectations. And Entropy with the map in their hands. It's all about, you know, doing, like you said, having chances and doing what they need to do. EWAVE are the ones under pressure here to try to stay alive actually in the championship.
See the Maverick being played and having a rough time with breaching EWAVE here. They make a nice lines of sight, which is the normal objective. You don't go for breach. Sometimes you do go to actually take sight, but it's the denial of rotation that is the most key factor, and Maverick, he can do that without opening up the wall itself. He just makes a nice little line of sight, makes a foothold, head hole, you name it. Avalon, in the meanwhile, he finds out Tiro. That's again that Grim, that late operator taken out so early, not a good position to be stuck in. Definitely not something you want to keep in mind, as we also have Rise now still sticking to this top rafters. Avalon, he's on 16, hopefully being able to get picked up by the dog, as Dex is going to be picking up Freddy in the meanwhile, grasping it up, and that's going to be a nice pick. Jewett going for a run out. That was going to be the feat. He sniffs him out, and wellfeedfinder.com found out Aljo was hidden right behind that SWAT truck.
Yeah, and Capitan down means they're not gonna have that kind of offensive smoke combo already to use. And like you said, try to go for a slower, you know, grasping of information using the Maverick, but clearly not enough. Let's see how they're gonna be playing, because Entropy found some kills, but yeah, it's EWAVE with more men at this moment. 3v2, so Pat takes Jewett down, and now it's gonna be up to how Entropy is gonna be holding up positions. Should not allow EWAVE to breaching totally. We have the information here from Afla checking on that window. It's gonna be interesting how to see how he's gonna be playing with Bachi, because these guys, they're strong when they play together. It could be the way, it could be the case. Afla trying to go for this pick again. He's taking his head out of there to not get the damage, and again, like, try to stay alive. It's tough for them, right? I mean, he was going and going, not going back from the play to stay, like I said, up in his feet. Bachi is also trying to grasp information, and goes took Afla down, so it's going to be Bachi versus two players from EWAVE. Complicated moment for Entropy.
15 seconds to go.
Hated going down for a plant. It's a 1v2. You got to hold your angles right. It's up in close quarters, but Pat, he comes out swinging unexpected. The mute, he thought the SMG-11 was a wonder. And while though you need to pull it off nicely in the wave E-Wave, they get around back. It's 6-5, and Entropy here, they can either shut it down or they are out of regulation, and match point is going to be underway. Before we get into it, it was a nice play here from E-Wave. They definitely had their moments, and it was unexpected that E-Wave are actually going to come back from it, because Entropy, you know, they've played it nicely up until now, but these unnecessary swings, especially from Rise on Red, that was just not needed. Could have stuck in position. Yes, of course, you are under a lot of pressure. You maybe sometimes the critical thinking just isn't on point, but in the end, we're past it. It's 6-5. It's gym and bedroom, and we either close it out or we go overtime here, Lanix.
Definitely, yeah. It's when it comes to the drama, to the tensions, we are at the peak. Let's see what's gonna happen, because EWAVE could have a chance of equalizing this one, but Entropy still could fix things around. They have been doing that, right? They have been the team to respond to whatever EWAVE successfully done. Let's see if it's gonna be either a 7-5 or again a 6-6. So everything could happen. Every single thing could happen, and I haven't could even happen too. So let's see, because Entropy, they were under pressure, right, on these last plays. Bachi was not able to deliver it all, and we know he wants to do that. We know Entropy wants to prove their point. They want to go ahead and move on the championship, but it's tough as we have Rise checking this spot here with Frost. So it's all about how they're going to be defending. On the other hand, EWAVE finding some, I would say, aisles, some bubbles of confidence, and yeah, doing what they need to do.
And what they need to do, a nice little plop up from the proximity a bit late into the round to put down your gadget. Although if you have the time, if there's no attackers rushing, who is going to be denying these players of doing exactly that? Reaching out these castles. Rise, yet again, he's been really prominent to start off these rounds heavily and always on that Frost. It's an interesting pick, seeing him not on that Legion, but still working out with such a slow gun is honestly such a satisfaction. In the meanwhile, though, he's taking out quite a major operator. It's Aljo. Noticing it's the Thermite of all characters, this is going to be huge. It allows Entropy to be safe of those hard breaches, which is going to force EWAVE to play it really risky here. And as long as Entropy play their cards right here, and they roll and roll and roll, keep on getting those 20s, I mean, it's without a doubt going to be their round. But we're going to have to see EWAVE still. They have an opportunity. It's nothing major just as of yet, but keep that in mind as of yet.
Definitely, yes. Like you said very well. So not having Thermite, not having that breaching, but they're gonna have to fix that somehow, find an alternative. As we see Turo taking Rise down, 4v4 now. We have this spot from Afla to try to see what is gonna happen, just helping the team. Like I said, the bullets applying a lot of pressure against EWAVE at this moment because Afla is scaling up. Finds another bullet. Pat was the last one alive. And there it is, Afla rolling heads, rolling the skulls of EWAVE players for another round. 7-5 victory for them, and that's gonna be the run of the series here. Like back and forth like we want, and Entropy in the end rising to the occasion.
Ending this an hour earlier purely because of Entropy taking the first map so quickly. In the end, it was quite a balanced second one. Clubhouse being 7-5 was not expected. I'll personally say it. I thought it was going to be an even faster wipe, but I am going to give credit where it's due. EWAVE, they performed a lot better than they did previously, and that's what I love to see. They shined through. They had good picks, good strategies, and good combination. In the end, it just wasn't enough. Not a slight bit. 7-5, though, coming up close. Not close enough. But with that in mind, that's going to be one more match in the fairest phase. We have 3 more remaining after this one, and then it's right over to the second. Now, EWAVE here are going to be kicked off out of the brackets, out of the competition, and out of the standings. And of course, I'm going to have to ask production, do we have the current standings maybe available to show to these viewers? Yes, we does. That's going to be Oho coming in clutch. Absolutely lovely. In the meanwhile, Entropy moves up. They are going to have the final match later on. I don't know the date exactly, but whenever they do, it's going to be elimination or it's going to be qualification, fighting for it. But with it, that was going to be all here for today. I have been Puffa Bob. It has been a pleasure to do this first cast with you, Lanix. It was the first one. It was lovely to do. And any opinions from you, Lanix?
Definitely, it was a pleasure to be with you here today. And just to wrap it up, definitely EWAVE out of the championship in the season. Some of the mistakes they've done were too much to take, and obviously Entropy, they're able to punish on that and capitalize. It was the case of an easier map, let's say, on the beginning, and then on the second map they struggled, but they kept strong against the EWAVE. So Entropy being the winners. And yeah, let's move to the next round of games. Production set. Let's see what is going to happen. Yuki versus Aspire. What about that, Puffle?
Well, I haven't seen Yuki personally. I don't believe so. Maybe I have. Whatever the case is, Aspire, they are a team to look out for. They are not something you can keep your mind off of because they've been quite dominant. And I think they do tend to keep it throughout the match tomorrow. Make sure to tune in because it's going to be same time, just a day after. And at the same time, the action, the intensity is definitely going to be there. The energy, you have to bring it because we surely will be. I don't know the exact casters yet again, though. It doesn't matter. It's these matches that you have to look out for. In the meanwhile, though, we are going to be wrapping it up. Thank you so much to the viewers who came to stop by. After this, you can check out the major you've been so eagerly waiting to check out. And at the same time, thank you to the players. Couldn't have been there without them. Of course, Oho and Ogon in the background working on production, absolute MVPs. And yet again, thank you, Lanix, for joining me on this cast today. As it has been me, it has been Lanix, and we will be signing you off. So have a great rest of your day.